Welcome to an episode of the Top Corner Podcast.
Perfect. What you on?
5/27/2025 is today's date. So wherever you live, you're supposed to have this date, unless you are advanced or behind. But it's supposed to be around that time.
Yeah, roughly. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Tuesday in America, and yesterday was Memorial Day. That's probably why we didn't drop an episode today.
Yes, this is true.
And guess what, guys?
What?
We got a good show for you guys, and we'll start with this applause. Let's applause a little bit. Yeah. As we're closing on this season.
Yeah.
I think probably all the leagues right now are probably rounding up, unless you're the MLS or
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think probably someone like Eredivisie, they're probably still going on. But like if you know the major ones, the
Champions League final is basically all that's left for the UEFA clubs.
I feel like the Champions League final is kind of like, I don't know if they thought about it, but I feel like it's always like the closing. It's like this is
I've always described it to my wife as like, because the domestic leagues don't have playoffs.
Yeah.
So there is no like Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because you can mathematically win the game months before the season ends.
Yeah.
It can come down to the last week where it does feel like the Super Bowl then, but rarely are the two teams that are competing for the top facing each other.
Yeah.
Whereas the Champions League final is always, because it's the knockout tournament. It's basically playoffs and the Super Bowl all in one, and it's the best clubs put together. So I've always described to her, I was like, no, I can't go out today. It's the Super Bowl of football. So, and then she has to go, okay, cool, I'll watch it with you and we'll see what's going on.
That is true. So I always felt like that's how it is. It's announcing that the league is about to close.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And that's for everyone in Europe. And we know Barcelona already won the league. We know Bayern won this year.
Napoli.
Yes,
I love it.
Awesome. That's for Napoli.
Yeah. It's not even for a dislike for Inter Milan. It's just,
I
like Napoli a lot. I like that squad that won a couple of years ago with Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia and Anguissa Lobotka and Zielinski. Like that was just a very likable side. They were fun to watch. So to see them be able to take that title back so quickly after winning it for the first time in 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
They're here, man.
It's like now we are here to. We are not leaving.
Yep.
That's a statement. One time it's like, okay, it's been a long time. You did this. It's a fairy tale, but could you sustain this?
Yep.
But second time it's such a short amount of time or period. It's like, okay, we are here.
And it guarantees that they're in Champions League football again, obviously, which means that more people get to watch them because not everybody gets to watch every Serie A game. So it's nice to see a squad that's fun to watch and likable like Napoli at the very top playing in this new league phase format. We'll see how that goes.
That is definitely true. Man, talking about Napoli, actually, it's very interesting because Osimhen left.
Yep.
Kvaratskhelia left. Who left again? I guess each year these guys left.
Zielinski's gone.
Yeah. And they still won.
Yeah.
Without this place. And you win. Why would you want Antonio Conte out?
Yeah.
Is that a good move or is this bad? Well, he just won you the league. And instead of leaving him because you guys bigger fish to fry next year, you decide to let him go.
He does have a reputation, and I'm not saying that this is warranted. I'd say if you're a club like Napoli, just like if you're a club like Tottenham, like you don't ask Conte to leave.
Yeah,
he decides when he leaves because truthfully, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But apparently the season after he wins a title, he is a little tougher to deal with.
Yeah.
Not that he starts making bad decisions, but it's that he sort of gets the my way or highway thing. And surprisingly, clubs are not willing to really do that. And it's like that I don't understand. Maybe it's an ego thing. I don't know. But if I'm a player and Antonio Conte comes into my club and we win another title for the first time in 30 years, like you basically win 2 in 4 years and you hadn't won one in 30 years before that. I listen to him. It is his way.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in the highway. Like I'm really not.
Yeah.
So it is curious how once they win the title,
it's like, all right.
Yeah. Well, everyone gets on edge. Like, oh no, what's he going to turn into? It's like, well, he's probably trying to get you to win another one, motherfucker. So like, why don't you listen up a little bit? But I mean, like, I'm not in those rooms.
Yeah.
I'm not in the organizations, but that reputation does sort of precede him. So it's interesting.
That's true. I personally probably won't do that, man.
No. If you're Napoli, like, how long are you gonna stay, bud?
Yeah.
Like, you can crash at my place if you need to. If it's that bad, yeah.
Plus, he constructed that team, and he knows probably better. But I guess we'll see how that works out for them next year.
Yeah.
And
keep in mind also that they didn't play in Europe this year, so
that's another thing.
So them being spread so thin might be the reason that they're not able to get to that last level.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a little bit lighter of a schedule.
Yeah.
He had basically the Coppa Italia and the domestic league.
Yeah.
But to me, that's the defining factor about what helped him succeed with the squad that maybe didn't quite have the same exact legs that got them that title in 2023. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if he is going to be in Europe next year, how threadbare is the squad going to be? Because he's going to have to make some more signings because you need depth.
You need. Yep, that's true.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, Arsenal is still interested in Rodrigo. I thought they kind of let it go. Well, I thought there was rumors, but it looks like it's intensifying. Because I think 2 weeks ago, there's a lot of rumors about Rodrigo being, or a lot of clubs being interested in Rodrigo from everywhere. And he had some things about manufacturing that he wasn't happy. I don't know if it's manufacturing, but the reason why I say it wasn't probably true is because a lot of news outlets reported that he wasn't feeling good. He wasn't feeling well at Real Madrid. He didn't like the atmosphere, whatnot. And he posted that he loves the atmosphere and there's nothing wrong. And last week, Arsenal was still like, "Hey, man, I feel we thought about this."
I think that a lot of clubs now are, because it was very clear as well that it's like that Arsenal has interest, but the deal itself is a long way off. The initial bid is still a long way off. I think he's doing the smart thing. I think that he's shown that he's still talented. He's shown that he is the most willing to comply within a system of that front three. The reason that you hear so little out of him is because he makes less of a scene. But I'll tell you what, man, he stayed in more consistent form, I thought, overall. Like I still think that he is the best of that three to be plucked from that system and be immediately integrated into another one and start succeeding as soon as possible. But I think, he's wanting to see what's out there without necessarily putting a step forward. And so I would say that a lot of teams are still interested, but every one of them's a long way off, if that makes sense.
You got to trigger the release clause, though. And
how much was that?
I don't know. It's probably Madrid put $1 billion clause on all the superstar.
But they don't consider him a superstar, though. They don't treat him like one.
I guess, but I think also, I think superstars sometimes it comes with the.
He was part of that. The $1 billion.
I know
so
exactly
stupid.
because they pinpoint all their great guys because they got these guys for cheap.
Yeah,
and they kind of made a name for themselves at Madrid. So Madrid is like,
you're ours,
a great thing. So I think last year they just put $1 billion clause on pretty much. I think the whole squad.
It's so bizarre
because they knew people would come poaching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And looking at Madrid as
only we can push. That's how it goes.
Madrid always feels like we are the Galacticos. So and we have to have the stats. Either you leave while we get our money, or you don't leave at all, and we make sure you produce at the club. But the smart thing for Rodrigo, I guess, probably wait to see what Xavi Alonso will want to implement.
Yeah.
But and on another side too, it's not bad because. I guess his right wing, right, is his position is actually kind of cemented at Madrid in a sense because when he's in form, there's no one that plays that wing.
Yeah,
that I know of.
That's not even his primary, his natural position. His is actually he started out on the left wing. They moved him to the right because he was more capable than Vinny was on the right.
Yeah, Vinny's not good on the right.
No,
so. That's
Vinny's struggling on the left right now.
I think this is just a bad season for him.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Arsenal could. I feel like it could prosper Arsenal. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he would go back to his natural left,
and there's no one there to compete with him.
No one to compete with him. No.
That's what I was telling someone earlier. I was saying. The thing about it is just look at competition, because at Madrid it's always been and Kroos and Xavi Alonso, they talked about this concept last year, and every other star that goes there. they actually got pissed off at this new team this year because every position is always competition.
Yep.
You really don't have a position about
Yes.
it. That's how it used to be, and everybody had known this. But why would you want to compete every day for that position if you can go at a top team?
Yeah,
that's also in the lens and the eyes of everyone, and just have your place.
And it's clearly, to me at least, it's very different in Rodrigo's situation. Where yes, I do understand that Madrid, like your position is always up.
Yeah.
For debate, like you're never really cemented in the starting lineup unless you're Cristiano Ronaldo, Luka Modric. Like there's very few people. But tell me, who was playing better than him in that position ever since he's been there? Like I don't know why they treated him like he had competition behind him. Yeah, and I don't mean that they should have kissed his ass either.
No, yeah, that's true.
But they never gave him the respect that I think that he deserved.
Yeah,
not to blow smoke up his ass or do anything like that, but like to make him feel like a true part of the team. And so what that does is it's like I'm killing it week in, week out, and if I'm not killing it that week, I'm the best person that you have for that position, bar none. Like there's no competition for me on that side, and you're not treating me the same way that you're treating other players. That to me is the difference. If you've got somebody on your ass, if you're part of that midfield, that Valverde, that Tchouameni, that Camavinga, you should feel nothing personal about losing your spot that week to one of those guys. Yeah. You're in a thick rotation. They're very talented guys, but like Rodrigo's always there, and they just don't give him the respect that he deserves. I think
that's true. That's true. Well, I'm interested to see Madrid of next year. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But as long as he's there and there's a lot of offers coming in, he still has options in a sense.
Oh yeah.
But to trigger that release close to, you gotta.
Yeah. Genuine question then before I move on. Who is a legitimate club in Europe that wouldn't want him? Not as in like, ew, get away from me, you're gross. Mm-hmm. But like who on the right or left wing, I don't care.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that front three, what club could right now go, you know what, we're good right now. We're good.
Right now, if you talk about the top clubs that compete year in and year out in the league, in the cups, and in the Champions League, right now he is valuable. Right now,
every single club.
Every single club, he will be. Yeah. Even in a city, right now, because
they need him badly. He's way better than Doku.
Yeah, because Doku don't have
Savinho. No.
See
what I'm saying? Like
because Doku don't have a finished product. I think that's gonna be his detriment probably next year if Pep if Pep can find better than him. Because he's good. He's talented, don't get me wrong, but if you can dribble and don't score, it's kind of pointless.
There's no finished product. Rodrigo's shown you finished product.
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Luis Diaz is probably on his way out.
Luis Diaz was going on, man.
Same. But he's not at that level.
Yeah,
he's shown, I think, a ceiling, and his ceiling's not much lower than a Liverpool. He still deserves to be in Champions League. He is a Champions League football forward.
So, now
I think every single club in the Champions League scenarios right now could use Rodrigo. Every single one.
Yeah, there's not any club that will not use his service right now. Talking about Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz is rumored to go to Barcelona. Mm-hmm. Barcelona wants it, but I don't know why Barcelona wants it. This is what I'm thinking. It's either they want to not buy any striker and move Rafinha to be Lewandowski, because Lewandowski is getting old.
Even though Rafinha's improved, his finished product is not good enough to put him in the center. And it's improved. I'm not saying it hasn't, but like your guys on the wings are usually not quite as clinical of a poacher as the guy in the center. That's why he's there. Yeah. So like while he has gotten tighter with his finished product on the wing, that does not mean that he's a center forward. That does not mean that he is guaranteeing you those kinds of guns. It's like, I'm not saying it's the most foolish thing I've ever seen in my life. I'd also seen that there were rumors that they were willing to sell him at a high fee.
Ooh.
Rafinha. And that Luis Diaz was going to possibly come in to replace, and they were going to use that sale to sort of pad out some of their financial situations and sit back a little bit. That's what I had heard.
That still would be a bad move for Barcelona, though, because I don't know. Last year he was good. This year he's been excellent, especially in the Champions League. So if you sell him, you gotta find someone that's close to that level. And the duo Rafinha and Lamar, they play so well together.
Yeah.
And even when he has Balde on the other side, so I don't think that would be a good move, because then it's
I
like
agree.
rebuilding that cohesion, that so that chemistry in a sense. But Luis Diaz was kind of, I thought, I didn't see why Barcelona would like them. I mean, will get him, but I see, because Luis Diaz he's so tricky, and he can get you there. But I don't know. It's just kind of out of the blue that Barcelona got a sudden interest in Luis Diaz.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you also have financial issues. How much are you willing to spend for Luis Diaz then?
Yeah.
Because Liverpool is not just going to say, hey, take this guy 40 million.
Yeah, they probably say it's closer to 60, I would say.
Yeah. So
so really, and again, I don't agree with this, so don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger here. That's what they were kind of saying they were going to do. If they were going to sell Rafinha for 80, 85 or so, pick up Luis Diaz, and then sit back on the extra 35 and just kind of use that to reevaluate their infrastructure. Again, I'm not saying it's a great idea. I think that Rafinha is a better player in every single way. I think that they're very similar in their play style. It's just that Rafinha's really been able to grasp that final bit of finish.
Yeah.
And with Yamal obviously being so deadly on the opposite side, you need that not equal threat, but you need a supreme threat.
Yeah, on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I say for now, I just don't see. Now I understand you probably need a striker just because Lewandowski is getting old.
Yeah.
I would just say go pick up another striker.
Jonathan David.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
That's true.
He's good.
It's true. Yeah.
And if you're trying to not break the bank, I mean, how much can Lille really keep him for? They need that money.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of strikers now that a lot of clubs can go and pick up for less than the amount that they will have been sold, or they will be, I don't know, probably in the next 2 years their market value will increase. So I'm thinking about Victor Gyökeres, and this is for people like Arsenal. This, I think he finished with a ridiculous amount of goals this year, and they just won the league with Sporting and the cup. So in Arsenal's case, or in a lot of these clubs, perspective, I don't know what they're thinking. This is strikers they can
what they're thinking.
These are strikers they can go take in, just buy.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be less. Because guess what? He comes in Arsenal or wherever they buy him in, if it's a top club competing in Europe, he has the next year his market value just shoots up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
So basically it's an investment too for you. It's bringing eyes to your team and you'll be competitive. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Something like that. Benjamin Sesko as well, because Salzburg.
Yeah, Benjamin
Sesko. Because a lot of those clubs, like while they want to be able to compete in terms of building a squad, they need the money to then spread back out. Because that's the cycle, the infrastructure that they've built. They hold on to good players for 2 or 3 seasons, sell them for a lot of money, and then use that to not replace one for one, but they're going to replenish half the squad with the money that they sell from that one superstar.
Now I got a striker in head that will be good for both Barcelona and Arsenal, just because of the way they play, that don't require the striker to necessarily be too skillful. If it's a natural poacher, just a straight, Edin Dzeko. That kind of striker, just
rugged, but
like a
gets in the back of the net.
Yeah. Guess what? Guimaraes from Dortmund.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when I watch his game in Champions League, he had all the ability, he had all the skill of a natural poacher. It's like if you as a player just shoots the ball and the goalkeeper hits it back, he's gonna be there.
Yes, yeah.
If you need those running, he was there. He was always in the box.
Yeah. Well, he was second behind Harry Kane for the Golden Boot in Germany, and I believe he was in the top 3 or 4 in the Champions League as well.
Let
me see.
Yeah, it's just that he's
he was number 1.
Yeah, he's number 1.
13.
Yeah,
with Rafinha right behind him and Kane right behind him.
Yeah, the reason I thought about it is just because these people that don't have the media behind them.
Sure.
So you really don't hear their name as big out there. But if you go look at their production rate, they're producing. So that's a good guy. I mean, I watch his games, and I think, and he will be cheaper.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, putting those numbers up in the Bundesliga is no joke.
And going and doing in Champions League too.
Yes, that especially. But yeah, people get really impressed with the I put up this amount of goals in the French league or in the Portuguese league, and it's like, they're still great leagues. I mean, again, the top 10 leagues in the world are amazing. If you're a supreme world class athlete.
Yeah.
If you're able to even play in those leagues, to even step foot on the field in those leagues.
Yeah.
But the Bundesliga is a tough one. That's almost as close to the Premier League as you can get.
Yeah.
In terms of a 1-for-1 kind of a deal.
I feel like the Serie A though. Because Serie A don't have the amount. I mean, when you look at their golden boot every year in the league, the goal is like 25. It's never up there. In La Liga, you can put those numbers up.
In La Liga, yeah, you can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what about this Florian Wirtz thing, man? So Liverpool were they're interested.
Now that would be dangerous for anyone in your league.
they submitted a bid of 100 plus. So it was 100 with add-ons, and it was rejected. The deal was rejected by Bayer Leverkusen. So they're going to try again, I guess.
They're going to try again because I think Liverpool. No, I think Bayer Leverkusen said the only club that Florian Wirtz will leave to go to will be Liverpool. Yeah. So I don't know if it's money wise or they need more. Actually, we need to check it. I don't know. What's the latest news on Florian Wirtz? Did he go or did they submit another bid?
No, so they have not submitted another bid. I think Liverpool is the first one to make an actual advance toward him.
Yeah.
I think that Man City kind of very wisely sat back.
Yeah.
It's odd seeing Liverpool being the first one to really submit that bid. They're the ones that usually kind of sit back and play a little bit more safe. But yeah, I think that Man City are kind of understanding that they don't have that same exact buy power right now.
Yeah.
And, it's never a great look to have your first bid rejected so openly.
That's true.
When you're haggling over a deal for other players, it's one thing. 65 becomes 85, becomes 75. Those are normal. But when you submit 100 million plus with add-ons, and then for it to be turned down, that's a bit strange. Yes, because once you cross that 100, it's very difficult for the clubs to not take that regardless. So
that probably will be either the guy has a preference for a club that he's waiting on.
Yeah.
That he wants to go to.
Yeah. Which should be Liverpool, if you think. I mean, if you want to walk into a club and have immediate opportunities for success, not City right now.
But you walk in, the midfield is yours.
But no one else is there right now. It's a ghost town. But I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because Bayern Munich wanted to get him, but I just couldn't understand why would you have Musiala and him.
It doesn't make sense.
Because even in the German national team, there's a little bit of clash when they play. Because they're two ball hogs. Like if you have two of those,
their play style is slightly different, but what they represent and what they do for the club, for the side, is the same thing. That is that creative, expressive midfielder. You can't have two of those guys.
Yeah,
on the same
you just
pitch.
have one of them. Yes. So I don't know, man. Yes, I mean, I guess City will not be good, but you never know. City next year might not be the City of this year.
True. I mean,
well, Chelsea.
There's too much competition already, though.
Because I feel like Chelsea will be really competitive next year.
They will, but you're walking into a crazy squad.
Yeah, because Enzo Maresca did the work this year, so I want to see what's gonna happen next year. And to be honest, I feel like Premier League next year will be Western, the Wild West. Yeah, because it's gonna be.
Liverpool makes sense for him as well, though, because they don't really have a highly attacking creative midfielder. They've got guys that can sit back. They've got the guys like Szoboszlai and especially McAllister that can do all the dirty work, and it's all about the passes. It's all about distribution of the ball. They're lacking in a center forward position. Is this where they try a bit more of a false nine, let him kind of sit back in that little bit just before that final third, and let him be a bit more creative and expressive, because you don't have to worry about missing out on a finisher, because right now Darwin Núñez is not it. Diogo Jota, when he's fit, does have a good finish in him, but he is still inconsistent. Do you sacrifice that center forward position and allow Florian Wirtz to be a bit more expressive? It makes sense. True. There's no one else in that squad that plays like him, and if they're that interested, then they're willing to manipulate their system to fit him in there.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And again, I mean, I'm not saying
especially that you are losing the other aspect of Liverpool's game, that those long threaded ball from Alexander-Arnold. I keep missing his name.
Their play style is going to have to change anyway, and so it looks like that might be the direction they're heading in. And really fast, I know that Man City, this was an offline season, but in England, there is no club that's guaranteed to be right at the brink of potential titles in Liverpool. Like
next year?
Yes, once you walk into the club, there's no team that is inherently closer to a title and a good Champions League run
than Liverpool right now.
Yeah,
I feel like Arsenal has a shot if this what happened this summer.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, right now, that squad is ready-made to be a legitimate contender for both of those titles. And City can be. They just have to rebuild a lot. And a lot of it's mentality, and a lot of it's the roster itself. So, I'm not saying that they're going to have another fall off like they did. But
I see what you're saying. Like, ready-made wouldn't need too much adjustment in terms of, Plus, you face less competition if you Florian Wirtz going to Liverpool. There's nothing as you're competing for that position with anyone. And the club is good. The club is there. I just want, that's true.
Old Florian Wirtz versus Rico Lewis. Who gets that starting line? Jeez, and I'm kidding. Sorry, Rico. I'm kidding. Love you, buddy.
Let's see how that works out, man. I'm really interested because Bayern Munich was long time their beater. They wanted that guy for a long time, so I don't know how that would go.
Yeah.
Well, Erik ten Hag is back in play, man. He's a Bayer Leverkusen.
He's a maverick.
But what if he goes to Bayer Leverkusen and kills it?
I'd die laughing. I'd die laughing. It'd be so fun. That would make me so happy.
I think probably next week or 2 weeks we're gonna have a whole show about like United and stuff like that.
Like I have no particular affinity for Erik ten Hag. I don't like or dislike him in a certain way. What I do like is vengeance. I love a good vengeance story. I love this guy.
If he goes there and kills and someone,
because he's been buried underground, and it's a long beat on the tombstone, and then the hand comes through the through the dirt. He claws his way out. I love that. Yes, I love that kind of story. So I want him to go to Leverkusen and fucking just crush it and show everybody wrong. Yeah, that'd be so funny to me. I love it.
That's true. I love those stories, man.
Oh yeah, they're great. Yeah.
Well, Modric is officially out. I don't know if he retired or just
that. I don't know. He's been invited to leave the club. I know that. and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like
that's just
mutually walk away.
If I'm Modric, I just retire. But you know what?
Yeah,
some people like Modric. I don't know. I feel like he loves the game too much. He might just pick up a club somewhere and play. And I just don't like that.
I agree. And it's funny because it's like, you usually talk about those players like Tony Cruz, where it's like 34, 35. He's 39. So like I don't think that you really do have the time to go play someone. Just retire straight away.
There's some people that they get so ingrained in the game that they can't seem to see when the game has kind of left them.
Who was that 152-year-old Japanese player that was playing in the Japanese league? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
he retired like 3 years ago. He was like 52 or something. It's like, holy shit.
Pep Reina, I don't know if you remember Pep Reina, the Spanish goalkeeper.
I think so. Yeah.
He just retired. He played for Como. So I was looking at it. I was like, wait a minute, is that Reina?
Holy cow. Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Because he's like 40-something. So those players don't want to leave the game, man. So
just go hang out and be a coach, man. Just go stretch with the boys. That's it.
Okay. What would the Europa League have looked like if UCL League phases or, people that participate or the clubs,
So let me
went down. What it was just like old times.
Yeah. Let me look at this really fast because it was, the third place in each group got lumped in and sent down to the Europa League.
Yeah.
Fourth place went home. First and second moved on. So what if we took that league phase right now? The top
Arsenal wins it.
So the top 8 move on, obviously. They don't get a bye week. They face that middle 8 in the round of 16, like it's supposed to be, the round of 16. The bottom 8 that moved on from the league phase this time around would have went to the Europa League. This is who they would have been. Listen to this. Monaco.
Yeah.
Brest.
Yeah.
Feyenoord.
Yep.
Juventus. Celtic. Man City. Sporting. And Club Brugge. That's who would have went down.
Man City's winning that.
You see what I'm saying? So like and I was not alone in this, thinking that the prestige of the Europa League was kind of gone because there was no major side that sort of came down.
There's a lot of people, opinions related this week, last week, or 2 weeks ago, or every week when they talk about it, they also mention that. For me, yes, it's good, but so this is what I think about all that too. Although that's what we've grown up to see, the only thing that I don't yes, the quality dip, because the Champions League teams reduces the overall quality and prestige of the Europa League. That's how I felt for a long time. Yes, it's good because you know the names. At some point also you might have like a Chelsea, probably City or a Chelsea, Sevilla.
Liverpool's gone down into it. Atalanta's gone down into it. Yeah.
But what about the fairness of the league itself? If the league was created for these people that are not, because if you play the Champions League, that means that that's your competition. If you can make it your competition, I don't think you should be allowed to go in another competition where your grade level is higher, and you get there and you beat guys like Tottenham, I guess 17 in the league. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were like 17 and 16 playing the final. Just shows also how the quality dip in the league, because you will never made it if you were 17 and 16 in any league playing the final of the Europa League, because you will have been like the 5th or the 6th of each league. Yes and no. At the same time,
it's interesting because it's counterintuitive to what UEFA, I think, stands for at the same time, because like their whole thing is to create the tournaments for more matches, for more viewers, for like turning 32 teams into 36 so that you get extra matches out of that. The league phase added 2 extra matches to each club. Then you had the playoff match after that. So it is funny that they're more concerned with getting more games and money out of people, but they don't understand that by not having those teams go down from the Champions League to the Europa League, you're losing viewership in the Europa League because those bigger clubs aren't there. And I agree with you. There's a purist mindset in it that
I get
if you earned that Europa League spot, you deserve it. And there's nobody else coming down to take that shine from you. And I do agree with that. And it makes for less interesting matchups, and you have to accept that. It is the tournament, and that's the tournament, and move on from that.
Yeah.
But for an organization that wants nothing more than money and viewership, by keeping those clubs like a Man City, like almost PSG would have went down as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like from keeping them out of that lower level competition to give that competition shine and more money and more revenue and more viewership. It is an odd decision from them. It's an oddly purist mindset from a very greedy and grubby organization.
Well, I think one of the things they probably will have done is introducing this a little bit slower for the people to adjust, so they can create a fan base of the newer system. Because the Champions League, no matter how we flip around, it will still have the same fan base, because it's the champions of the champions. Everyone wants to see a Liverpool, Real Madrid. So the mentality is already there, because the best of the best are in this tournament. But how do you make sure the lower tier tournament also become A, competitive, B, in terms of viewership, engaging for the fans, because most people, I think, this year only watch the final, in a sense, than kept up with the whole tournament,
And so at a certain point, you're saying, I guess, the clubs that are consistently in the Europa League tournament are going to get more fans, because you're going to, that's just who's going to be there. Like at a certain point, if it is Bodo Glimt in the semifinals every single year, that would, in theory, make more Bodo Glimt fans than if they were just kind of peripherally in the Champions League, then the Europa League, and then they're gone, and then this and that. So, like, I mean, if they're consistently in that spot and going far in that tournament, even with less people watching it, with less stars and with less big clubs, they then become the stars of that lower level competition in a way.
That's why, because the impact on this season, with the old system, the higher tiers getting knocked out of their own competition goes down, and then usually dominate. And you can see the talent levels. The gap is so wide. Yes, of course we have viewership, but also who would want to watch a Milan Club Brugge when Milan is team holding these guys, or Arsenal Club Brugge? It just don't make sense. From that point,
the semifinal could have very well been, if Man City went down from that league phase, it would have been Man City and Bodo Glimt.
Now,
and I'm not interested.
But no one is at home saying, "Let me go watch that game."
No, they're not.
Everybody knows. I don't even know who plays there. Who's gonna stop Savinho?
Most people wouldn't even know what country that club's from.
That's true. So I'm sitting there, and Pep. It's kind of disgraceful. Pep walking there, and yes, you're gonna beat these guys, of course, because it's not really your competition. But
until the one year that they don't beat them, then it's amazing.
and
then we have a parade, streamers, fireworks.
That's gonna be crazy, though.
Yeah,
but
I got you.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it. Pros on the financial side, on the viewership. I mean, cons on the financial side, the viewership, and also the overall competitiveness of the league. But the cons will be the fairness of the league itself.
I agree. So I was going to ask you that at least of so you do admit though that it does make less interesting matchups for the public. And less money and viewership for the public. Because I mean it does, but I do agree with you on the pros and the cons. The pros are that the competition has a sense of fairness in it. That there is no change in level the further that you get into the competition. If you earned that spot, you earned that spot, and you play through that tournament until the death. And
so that's what we're running towards, the quality dip, because you don't have these high tier teams, and in effect you can always, because you will have like big teams dropping like Dortmund, AC Milan. This is just
I was gonna say AC Milan have a habit of dropping out of the UCL and going down to the
and Dortmund and Chelsea and all these guys. Yes, probably your final, because you had years where finals, Europa League finals, so exciting. You want to watch that.
It's always from the Champions League cast-offs that go down and then they go to the final.
It's more like you're looking at Champions League B in a sense, final B. You're not really thinking this is. I mean, Europa is the name, but you're looking at it like that's another Champions League final. Yes, but what about clubs that had the expectation to make a name for themselves?
Real Betis.
Yeah,
here they are. They're in the final.
That's true.
Against Chelsea, and they could potentially. I don't know.
Probably thinking about this in the morning.
That is actually a must-watch match, I think. And
I'm watching that one because I want Anthony to. I don't know. I want Anthony to destroy Chelsea.
I want it so badly. Yeah, I agree with you.
So I mean, I get that. I get that. I just wanted. Probably they should have implemented it easily, or ease into it, for the fans to adjust bit by bit, because just taking away the competition in a year, like people are like, I don't really have no skin in the game. I don't want to watch it.
It was a massive overhaul. Like I think that historically we'll look back on that, like all those changes in one season. Not only was it a change in the format, it was the amount of games that were played, the amount of clubs that are in, the lack of relegation system within itself. Like those are a lot of changes to have overnight. People get all up in arms when like you just take away goal difference as something meaningful on the table. It's like that's a massive change. So, like completely overhauling this tournament in that many ways. We've said it before on this podcast. It's going to take 5 years of results to figure out like what really is this thing looking like now. Like, is it always going to be a very underperforming Premier League team that goes far in this tournament now because there's no one else in Europe coming down into that competition to knock them out? So what's going to end up happening?
There's one thing that I don't know. There's one thing that I actually don't like about this whole new, not this format, but the new Champions League, because I didn't grow up with this. And I think Thierry Henry talked about it, and I was thinking, man, I wish we could go back to that, because I wish the total goal difference on the 2-leg game and the home away rule. I love the home away rule. Means what? If I score one at Julian's house, it means what? It means it counts 2. So Julian has to come back and score 2 at my house. I like that because it creates more competition. You guys are dying on the field. It's a battleground, and you see the game becomes more, I guess it's technical, but everything just open technical, tactically. People want to die on the field. It becomes more complex and becomes difficult. When Barcelona, Milan, not this final, but in 2010, when Milan had scored 3-1, Barcelona thought Barcelona had to go to Milan and score 4. Now you're sitting there like, how?
It gives you the more taking that away gives you more of an opportunity to be able to sit back and accept draws away from home. And that's not ideal.
So and the quality just goes from 1 to 10, because now people have to get that skillful creativeness out of their mind to score goals. So that's just me.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, this was a good show. And
it's a great show.
It's a great show. Let me say it's a great show.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So guess what? The Champions League final. Wait, what's coming first? The conference final?
Conference final is tomorrow. When this episode comes out, I wonder if the match is probably underway. See what?
I wonder if Paramount is going to show it.
They will.
Okay.
Oh yeah. They show all the Conference League stuff.
Okay.
And then this Saturday is the Champions League final.
All right.
PSG and Inter Milan.
You gotta watch the Champions League
Oh
final.
yeah, man.
PSG.
What the fuck else are you gonna be doing?
What you got? What you got before we?
I really hope it's Inter Milan. I really do.
For me, I don't want PSG just for one reason. Because Mbappe left. That's the only reason. Because I know the French media is gonna skin him alive.
Yeah, for sure.
But
and somewhat rightfully so. We'll see.
Hey, Inter Milan, if they win, I'll have no problem with that.
Yes, I agree.
So obviously, we'll have to see. We'll have to live.
They're a likable squad. They're not flashy. Sure. They're not super fun to watch. But everyone in that side is like I like their mentality as players. Yeah. So I'd like for that.
Well, go subscribe on TikTok. Go at
Spotify star review. What the
Spotify,
fuck, guys? Spotify
YouTube,
star reviews.
Everything. All right, bye.
Goodbye.